This is simply about why it's in a weaker spot balance-wise. So with that being said, let's talk about the Splattershot Pro over here.
The vanilla Splattershot Pro is not a particularly strong weapon competitively.
This slow speed also means that all those snipers, spies, scouts, soldiers, and explosion men see heavy as nothing but
heavy
a
is
green
probably the
dinner.
closest thing I have to a main. There's this running joke that heavy mains don't exist, so that means there aren't any stereotypes.
Remember when we said we won't recommend any more specific upgrades? I have to make an exception for the best weapon mod in the game, the chain gun shield. It's a game changer.
It's so simple as to be kind of boring.
The Splattershot Pro has above average range with alright damage. Each shot does 42 damage. Splattershot Pro is midweight and has a slightly slower fire rate compared to the normal Splattershot. Due to this, its pain and kill time are slightly worse. Slightly worse. Slipe. The Splattershot Pro isn't bad at anything, but it's not good. Its pain and kill time are worse than the Splattershot. That's fine, but it's not better at anything than anyone. Want to focus on range? Jet Squelcher. Want damage? 52. Long range damage? 96. Even if you want an all-around weapon, Splattershot is better because of pain and the kit. Oh boy. Angle Shooter is a joke. Since the game came out, it was considered one of the worst subs in the game. It does bad damage, it costs too much for what you get out of it, and it's incredibly hard to aim. Oh really, why doesn't this thing line up with your crosshair? And even if you do hit it, I get no dopamine from that. My serotonin levels are only going down. Is it really that much more effective than just shooting them a third time? Crab Tank isn't bad, it was the main part of the early meta for a reason, but it's not that interesting. You just stand and shoot, maybe go into a ball. Most of the player base doesn't care, and most of the people that did abandoned it for Forge. Pro just doesn't have anything worth noting. Even Nova, yeah, it sucks, but it's just kind of funny, honestly. Pro isn't even in the funny category, man. It's just boring. What could be better than a strong Russian beast who's ready to stomp tiny baby into ground? The Heavy can demolish enemies up close with so much health they couldn't dream of out-damaging you. But this is balanced out by his slow movement speed, making it harder to position himself, and the rev-up time limiting his ability to defend himself when caught off guard. Heavy is slow and easily hit, slow. Heavy has no movement tech. The most advanced is a melee that increases his max running speed. Standard Heavy gameplay effectively boils down to rev up and you can't even jump during a rev. Even trying to throw shotguns and lunchboxes into the mix. Is walking around with a shotgun sometimes that different from a minigun? And the sandwich is as complex as taking 2 steps back. It feels like any item Heavy has that tries to mix things up is just shit. People like to talk about how Heavy needs good positioning, but everyone does. As much as Reddit likes to complain, a sniper in the enemy spawn isn't exactly lasting that long. Heavy has a lot of problems and little depth. With no mechanics to master and limited strategies to learn, he's boring.
Against all the evil that hell can conjure, all the wickedness that mankind can produce, we will send unto them only you.
The mobile turret gives your chain gun a second barrel, increasing your fire rate. When active, you fire faster and do more damage per bullet, roughly increasing your damage by 40%. This can be useful for taking out tankier enemies quicker. It does chew through ammo though, so be careful. You're also slower while mobile turret is active, but this doesn't mean anything when it's not in use. All the mobile turret is a DPS boost. The upgrades don't even do that much. Removing overheating just makes it simpler than it already is. None of the upgrades really make that big of a difference. Again, Removing weaknesses arguably makes it simpler. I understand masteries aren't always that insane. Having 5 sticky bombs compared to 3 doesn't change the game. But you can pull so much shit with sticky bombs to begin with, it doesn't really matter. People bring up console players. You need to give them something as simple as holding the right trigger. But I can tell you myself, basic quick switching isn't that hard with a weapon wheel. Oh, also it's competing for a slot with the most broken mod in the game. But anything would suck in comparison to the Pinky Bully machine, so I'm not going to blame it for that. The mobile turret just isn't very complicated, and even compared to other mods, isn't that good with limited options and mechanics. It's just boring. But above all else, people still use these. People play pro, they like the weapon. It's not exactly easy to find a match without a heavy in it, and there are people who use mobile turret against the big guys and work it into combos. But I just ranted about every last one of them. How? But is complexity really that important? I've used 52 for 90% of my time in this game. It's not a very complicated weapon on its own, but I like pushing my limits with it. Pro players are probably in a similar spot. I'm not going to act like my little monkey brain doesn't like it when big gun makes big numbers. And mobile turret, even if a little underwhelming at times, I can get joy from mowing down big guys fast. Sometimes people don't need complexity to get enjoyment. And honestly, if all someone needs to have fun is a simple gun killing in a simple way pretty good, I'm not gonna shit on them for that.